Thank you for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and thank you for taking the time to subscribe. All right, I want to get to the aftershocks after this big quake this weekend. We had that 7.6 earthquake that happened Saturday night, very close to Grand Cayman, right near the Cayman Islands. It was felt in Belize, Honduras, parts of Jamaica, over toward Cuba, and elsewhere. This was a 7.6, about 6 miles down, 10 kilometers down, which isn't too far underground, and that's why it was felt in such a large area. Now, right after that, through about midday yesterday and yesterday morning especially, there were several aftershocks that were significant, about 4 to 5 in magnitude. So we had those, and then I was watching last night a few aftershocks, but not a lot of significant ones, which is good. There was one though, 4.2 in magnitude. So that was one of the aftershocks last night. So you may still feel some of that movement around, especially over toward parts of the Cayman Islands, even over toward Jamaica, and there will be some additional aftershocks through the day today. How strong, kind of a wait and see on that, but know that I'm monitoring that. But again, a recent aftershock of about 4.2. And then we just had this morning another earthquake. I mentioned how it's such an active period. This one again over toward Guatemala and El Salvador. That's where we've seen a few lately. This one was 4.5 in magnitude, way deep down. So for the most part, most people didn't feel it, especially since you may have been sleeping. But this one right just to the south of Guatemala City. But again, another earthquake last night. We're in that active period, especially across parts of Central America. Well, what's going on? Well, we keep an eye on these fault lines together. Now, the big earthquake that we had, the 7.6 from this weekend, sits right about here in this this orange fault line right through here. There's another orange fault line right through here. It's not literally orange. I just made it orange on the screen here to show you. What I mean by that is it is a transform fault. This one here, this kind of darker red, is a divergent fault. That's where the land is kind of moving apart. But and then this here is convergent. This is a fault line that's a big problem. If you get quakes along this near the Dominican Republic and Haiti, that's where the land is kind of coming together and hitting. Those could be even more substantial types of earthquakes. But the transform fault in this orange shading here that we had was kind of a saving grace as far as the tsunami outlook went. The transform fault, instead of things kind of colliding together and lifting up, they're sliding past each other. So there wasn't something kind of bumping up in the water, which would help to create the possibility of a tsunami. So it's a strike slip fault along the transform ones, just kind of sliding by each other. So that was helpful, and that's why there, yes, were those tsunami advisories, those warnings that were put out. But fortunately, nothing out of that. So it was just happened to be in kind of, I guess, relatively a good spot. Now, Friday night, just to the north, that transform fault that is right near Grand Cayman, there was an earthquake before the big one of 4.3. Sometimes you could get a foreshock. That would be just like aftershocks. You could get a smaller earthquake before a bigger one. Now, I'm not sure if this was a true foreshock because it was on a slightly different fault line. It was the one to the north, but it was interesting that there was a 4.3 in this general area. Before we did have that bigger one that happened on Saturday night. So clearly keeping an eye on everything. Depth is very key. The big 7.6 one was shallow. A shallow earthquake is 0 to 70 kilometers or 0 to 40 miles down. Anything deeper than that is either intermediate or flat out deep, just like the one we just had in Guatemala, and that means it's not often felt quite as much. All right, let's switch gears and get into a big winter storm to the north. Watching out for some spotty showers. You see the clouds kind of coming in out of the south. Panama, Costa Rica, pushing back toward Jamaica. We may get clipped by a couple showers, a little bit of moisture as well, Guyana and Suriname, but we're going to see bigger systems again rolling right through. Look at this moisture coming out of the Pacific, lifting over toward the panhandle of Texas. Another system is going to make way, but with that, you see the storm track right in through here, right? So anything to the south is very warm. That's why I mentioned that early spring for a lot of us. Northern United States, Canada, of course, still locked into winter, no doubt. So let's start small. And then let's widen out the picture, and I'll show you that bigger winter storm system. Spotty shower today, Puerto Rico, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Montserrat, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, a couple passing showers. May get 1 or 2 St. Lucia and Barbados, but not widespread. So I'm going to keep an eye on some of those drought conditions as we go forward. Guyana and Suriname also watching some of the rain by tomorrow. Still that easterly breeze kicking in a shower near St. Lucia. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 1 or 2 in the Dominican Republic. And then the same thing into Wednesday. Wednesday, though, watching the rain building here. Look at that, Guyana and Suriname. We're going to see that rain chance building. So I'll keep an eye on how close that gets by the end of the week over toward Trinidad. Heaviest weather should be just to the southeast, but some of that weather will be building. Now, a diminishing front pulling through Bermuda. Look at that next system building. This here is by tomorrow afternoon. There's going to be a little bit more of a snow down toward Kentucky, West Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware. This front will dip down toward Louisiana and Texas, but underneath it, we still have that easterly, southeasterly flow across the Caribbean. But there's some of that colder air trying to sneak in, and that's why there'll be more of that snow event. A little more down to the south, not like we had a few weeks ago that was down toward Florida. But then right on the heels of this, you see this is by Thursday, Wednesday night into Thursday morning, another system. And this one does dip down into the Gulf, but not significant. So while this time of year we could still get the fronts in the northern Caribbean, it's not going to be a big difference. We're going to stay on the warm side. I'm not seeing any front diving down. Big systems rolling into the west coast of the United States. Those will eventually work across. So by the time we get into the upcoming weekend, yet again, another storm system. And this one is going to yank down the possibility of some severe storms. We'll have that easterly flow. It's going to actually increase our rain in parts of the Caribbean as we get into the weekend. I'll monitor that. Strong southerly flow, so this part of it could be on the severe side, watching that with some almost spring-like thunderstorms in parts of the southern United States. And then by Sunday, the front pushes off. But you see the tail end of it again, while it dips down a little bit more to the south, it's weaker. All of the energy with this will be up toward the Atlantic region of Canada by the time we get into the weekend. Showing you that, here's the Atlantic region of Canada. Here's Bermuda, Bahamas right here. Mid-Atlantic of the U.S. Here's that diminishing front through Bermuda. And then you see by tomorrow, Kentucky, West Virginia, over toward Delmarva, some of that snow that will be popping up. There's the tail end of the front. As that pushes off, there's that second system right there. And I'll monitor throughout the week how close these get to the Atlantic region of Canada, much like we saw this weekend with that big area of snow just kind of clipping by parts of Nova Scotia, for example. All right, the seas stay elevated. Watching those Atlantic passageways, everything's staying on the bumpy side. Same thing as we work our way back through the Caribbean. And then even into the Gulf as the week goes on, things will get a bit choppier because the fronts do try to get a little more to the south. This is by Wednesday, and you see things picking up. So just a heads up, choppy seas continue, which is common this time of year because you get those fronts that are rolling by. But the Atlantic waters will be even higher as we work our way through the week. I'll be updating you on that. As far as rain totals go, not super high. Cuba were mainly dry. Bahamas, not a lot of action. Same thing, Cayman Islands and Jamaica, of course, watching the earthquake activity. Could get a passing shower in Jamaica, but the Dominican Republic, we may get a few spots pushing 50 millimeters of rain or 2 inches of rain. Same thing over toward parts of Puerto Rico. Not a washout, but a couple repeat showers could give us some higher totals. Not as much Dominica back through our Trinidad, but later this week, I'll see how much of this moisture here kind of lifts up toward Trinidad, but we could get some spots around 50 millimeters of rain or 2 inches of rain. Guyana and Suriname later this week, though, the rain chance will be getting higher and just getting brushed by some showers. Some spots about 1 inch or 25 millimeters of rain. Parts of Honduras, Nicaragua, nothing too widespread over toward Belize, down toward Costa Rica. Mainly dry in Mexico City, but Texas getting wet at times with the tail ends of the front as those systems kind of build back toward the United States. So the rain chance 30 to 40% for us the next few days in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. Monitoring those aftershocks. You may feel them in the Cayman Islands. 20% chance of rain the next couple of days. We're mainly dry today. 20 to 30% chance in Trinidad and Tobago, and then about a 20% chance the next couple of days in Barbados. So a passing shower possible. Breezy conditions with us. 30 to 40% chance in St. Lucia. And today we could have a couple of those showers around Grenada, isolated to scattered, about a 40% chance. 20 to 30% chance, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. 40% chance today in Martinique, 30% chance tomorrow. We do that again as we work our way toward Dominica. Easterly flow, giving us a few of the passing showers. We do that in Guadeloupe. 20 to 30% chance, The next 3 days, Antigua, Barbuda, so the rain chance not too high. It would be a passing shower. St. Kitts, Nevis, and Montserrat, passing shower possible. And Anguilla and St. Bart's, mainly dry. Rain chance stays on the low side. If you get a shower, it's not going to last too long. St. Martin, Saba, and Statia, about a 20% chance. But a few more showers around Puerto Rico. Eastern end, better chance of getting a couple showers. Could get brushed by some U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Rain chance stays low across the Bahamas, 10 to 20% chance, about a 10 to 20% chance. Turks and Caicos, and we'll see some scattered showers eastern and northern sections of the Dominican Republic the next couple of days. Haiti, though, we're mainly dry. Rain chance about 30, maybe 40% in Belize, not a washout, but a few scattered showers. 20% chance the next couple of days in Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, about a 30% chance. A rain chance not too high. Guyana starts to bump up a little bit tomorrow and Wednesday, up to a 50% chance. And you see it building. That's what I was talking about earlier. By Wednesday, we're up to a 60% chance in Suriname. 10% chance in Cuba, mainly dry conditions. Just a 20% chance today, Costa Rica and Panama. 30% chance in Nicaragua. 30 to 40% chance the next 2 days in Honduras. Rain chance stays minimal. Watching the earthquake activity, Guatemala and El Salvador. 10 to 20% chance of a shower in Mexico City. 20% chance right across the Yucatan Peninsula, Merida, Campeche, back toward Cancun and Cozumel. Mainly dry northern Colombia. Could see a few isolated showers. 20 to 30% chance northern Venezuela, and about a 30% chance in Bermuda. We have that front sliding by for today. So tracking the aftershock activity, I'll be watching that nonstop. It's that really active period right now. Back through Central America, and of course in the Caribbean. We had that new quake in Guatemala. Big winter storms to the north. We have that warm and windy pattern. So plenty to track as we go throughout the week. Thank you for being with me and sharing this channel and subscribing. Be safe. Have a good rest of your day.